Michelle was a surprise guest at White Stallion Ranch during the pandemic. Hawaii refused her admittance and she told her husband Jeff to handle it and make it perfect. Michelle previously had a television show all about luxury high-end travel, so Jeff knew what he was up against. Michelle is currently the director of the Pinal County Economic Development Department in Arizona, and she is only 45 minutes from White Stallion Ranch. Here is what they found after they arrived and how it changed their definition of luxury travel when you mix in an amazing experience on this week's Cowboy Up Podcast. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Cowboy Up Podcast, where we talk about things of the West, all things about the West, and the things that make up the West. My name is Steve Clausen. I'm sitting here with the actual host, Russell True, owner of White Stallion Ranch, and I'm excited today because we've got something unique. We've got a guest that stayed at White Stallion, and I'm excited to get that going, Russell. I don't think we get to interview that many guests, do we?
No, they're too busy having good
times. They're too busy having
a good time to us. Why would we disrupt their fun?
There you go. Well, they came in because they actually live here in Arizona, and they discovered White Stallion Ranch completely by accident. That's probably the best part. So without going any further, I've got Michelle Carpenter and her husband Jeff. How are you guys doing today?
Good morning.
Good. Thank you for having us.
I so appreciate you coming in. Now, the way you got to White Stallion is a little backwards, a little different than most people, because most people, they spend time, they plan, they're going to go to White Stallion and they're going to do this and this and this, and that's not exactly your journey, was it?
No, not at all.
In fact, they wouldn't let you in someplace, would they?
Yeah, well, my husband and I were getting ready to celebrate our anniversary, and we had planned a trip to go to Hawaii because my husband has never been there. And the joke is he's never been there because every time his trip gets canceled for some reason.
Okay.
So I said, well, now you're with me. We've got this. So we had our trip scheduled during COVID. So this was December of 2020.
Beginning of COVID.
Yeah, and so we had to go get COVID tested before we could hop on the plane. And
in the 72-hour window.
And there are a lot of rules then, weren't there?
Oh, lots of rules.
You had to get a rapid test, and then it had to be done, obviously, and returned to you with a negative before you got on the plane.
Okay.
And it wasn't something that you could fake, You can fake the vaccination cards, but you can't fake getting the test.
Okay. But nobody did that. Nobody faked the vaccination cards.
No. So mine came back in time. Mine actually came back the day before, and we waited, and the day of, it was up against, we have to leave for the airport, didn't come back. So she got a little bit upset maybe, and said, you know what, I'm just going to go to work, figure it out.
And maybe, I like that.
I mean, she's really easy to work with, and she's really flexible with the things that she wants to do. To a point, but I knew she wanted to go to the beach. And what this really was we didn't go on a honeymoon. So this was going to be kind of a late honeymoon, even though it was 10 years later.
Okay.
So we had booked this to go on a honeymoon vacation, and it wasn't going to work out. So she went to work. I stayed behind, and I jumped on the computer, and so my honeymoon perfect vacation was going to be Washington, D.C., the Smithsonian's. She didn't feel like that was a very
I was just going to say, she just nodded her head.
So I knew that I had to come up with a compromise in between going to the beach and going to the Smithsonian's. And I went on, and my compromise was looking for the best dude ranches in the United States.
Okay.
Because I knew we would probably get our test back in the next day or two, which meant we were going to have airfare to go wherever we wanted. I looked it up, and in the top 3 was White Stallion Ranch. And it was 45 minutes from our house. So I started packing her bag without her knowing where we were going yet. And I did call her at work and I told her I got it figured out. Just go ahead and come home and we'll leave. We're going to be gone for a week.
That's what you told her?
Yeah. She came home. And after she came home, I told her, let's get in the car and go. Didn't tell her where we were going. She thought we were probably going to go to Sedona because that was an easy pull. I didn't even think about going there. And got in the car and started driving the opposite direction of Sedona, and that got her wheels turning. Like, where are we going? What's out this way? And got off the freeway, and it wasn't until we got here that she even knew that we were going to a dude ranch. But I did know that by going online and reading about the things that were available here, I could sell her on it once I got her here because of the spa treatment stuff and the jacuzzi. And so it wasn't I didn't feel like it was going to be a very hard pull. And then when we got here and she saw everything that she could sign up for, she did sign up for the spa treatments. And
First,
but then it didn't take long to kind of get into the groove. I think we got here right before dinner and didn't know anybody that was going to be here. Others seemed like they had already kind of gotten acquainted, and we were kind of late to the baseball game.
Okay.
But it didn't matter, man. Everybody just kind of took us in like they knew us, and we ended up actually meeting a couple of people that we're still in contact with, and
seriously,
just had a great time.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It's awesome.
Yeah, kind of White Stallion does kind of have that impact on people, doesn't it?
Yeah, and one of the things I've told, I'm not joking, probably 1,000 people about the best vacation I've ever been on, and it was here. And one of the things that I'll say is that you could bring a girl from anywhere here, and she's going to be able to find something out about herself she didn't know. Michelle had never shot guns in her life before coming here.
Okay.
And picked up the Colt 45 and shot better than anybody on the range that day. Picked up the musket and was loading musket balls like it was nothing, you know.
Her.
Yeah.
This lady right here.
My first time on a horse, I was 7 years old. She was a little bit later to the game, and she got on a horse that it liked to take off when it was ready to take off. So we ended up getting some really good pictures with the horse on 2 legs instead of 4, getting ready to go.
That's nice.
Like the logo.
And, my horse, I was on Sherman, which is still here, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just the best time, man. I had that horse for the whole week,
Isn't it? I think it's amazing. You still remember the names of the horses you were on.
I've thought about this place, like I said, at least 1,000 times since I've been here, in 2020.
That is remarkable. Okay, so now, what do you folks do for a living? Michelle, what do you do?
Well, I work in economic development for Pinal County, so just about an hour up the road.
That's right next door, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I also do tourism for Pinal County. Okay.
And I think that White Stallion would probably fall into the purview of tourism, wouldn't it?
It would.
Okay.
I just wish it was in Pinal County.
Well,
and sometimes
steal it away.
Do too. So you got the biggest job around. I mean, Pinal County is white hot. And, it was kind of the forgotten county for a while. There was Maricopa, which is Phoenix, which is where all the power and money is. And, a good example of why one of the strategies in the States was to not make the biggest city the capital, because then you'd get what you get in Arizona. You'd get a lot of concentration in that county and city, that whole Phoenix metropolitan area. And then there was Tucson and Pima County, and those were the 2 population centers. Pima much smaller. But Pinal is the county in between, and it was Casa Grande, Florence, but industry has found Pinal County. You can't even build houses fast enough, right? To house
building
the
houses
people.
Very fast right now. We have Santan Valley, which right now has about 120,000 people.
And where is that exactly?
That is right below Queen Creek, so right on the edge of pushing Maricopa County. So we share a little bit of Queen Creek as well. The new LG plant that's going in up there is part of Pinal, but it's a Queen Creek address, but we share a little bit of that. But Santan butts right up against Queen Creek. So Gilbert, you go a little east to Queen Creek, and then south, and you're going to hit Santan, and that's the Santan Mountains right there. And so that area of growth bleeds into Florence, and then also down through Coolidge to the south. So that is where you're going to see a lot of growth over the next 5 years. The housing industry is just booming out there right now. We moved here 4 years ago from Southern California. We went from living a block and a half from the beach to living in the middle of farmland. So it was quite a change for us.
Yeah.
And but now as we drive from, let's say, the grocery store home, when we used to just drive through fields and fields and fields, now we're driving, half of it is new homes being built. It's crazy the growth
in Florence.
In Florence and in Santan Valley. Yeah.
So you were talking about, before we started, 2 areas needed to incorporate.
Well, it was
Coolidge incorporated?
It is. Santan Valley is the one
that's
place
important.
That I would love to see push through with that. I know Supervisor Goodman is looking at that, and hopefully next year, possibly, they'll vote on that and see. I know they've voted on it before and it hasn't gone through, but I think with the size of, it's the largest city, it's not unincorporated city in Pinal County. Next is Maricopa on the far west side.
Is Maricopa incorporated?
Yes.
Okay. The next most important thing to Golden, Arizona is water. Yeah. And I think that has a lot to do with the push and pull when people are trying to get things figured out as to who's going to be who and where's going to be where, is water rights.
Yeah.
Now, Jeff, what do you do for a living?
So I was a surgical tech for a long time, and then we moved to Arizona, and right after we came here, I got in a wreck at the track. I raced dirt track stock cars and broke my back in Peoria, at the track in Peoria, and had to have 3 back surgeries. And so fast forward, wheelchairs, crutches, and walkers. I'm here and I'm ready to ride again.
No.
But
just a horse.
So what it is so I did that for a long time. So I'm medically retired at this point, disabled. So I don't really do too much anymore. I'm in a motorcycle club, so that takes a little bit of my time.
That seems like a great idea, motorcycle.
I've been into motorcycles.
How did that go badly?
Michelle, I started riding horses and motorcycles at the same time.
Yeah. Michelle has clearly not a lot of control here.
No, clearly not. Now, you folks, you said this is one of the best vacations you've ever had, if not the best. You folks are travelers, aren't you?
Oh yeah. She's been, I can't even name how many different places she's been because she produced a show for a long time on the Travel Network. So she's gotten to go to some pretty amazing places throughout the world.
You actually produced a show on the Travel Network.
Yeah, I got to produce a show called Travel in Style, How to Travel Like a Millionaire.
Okay.
And so for a couple of years, I had to travel like a millionaire. It was really rough.
So what she did is she booked everything around a U2 tour that went on for 2 years. So it was pretty convenient. She was able to go to a bunch of concerts.
Funny. I like it.
That's funny.
So
was the premise that you travel like a millionaire but don't spend that kind of money? Was that the premise, or it was?
No.
This
is how much it's going to cost.
This is how a millionaire.
Yeah.
So for people like me, it's just aspirational.
Yeah, it was definitely a dream job for those couple years. I was staying in $10,000 suites and shown the best spa treatments. So needless to say, I turned into a little bit of a travel snob, but I also had the travel bug, and luckily married somebody who has the spontaneity I do. I mean, I can get home from work on a Friday night, and he says, "Let's just get in the car and go, and we'll figure it out."
In the past, I had I worked logistical support for Skechers and Xbox internationally. So I would find out today that I need to be on a plane tomorrow and be in Europe for 2 weeks. So I'm pretty easy, man. I can pack a duffel bag and go and stay wherever I am and know that I can buy whatever I need when I get there if I don't have it.
Remarkable, right?
I don't pack socks and underwear. I just buy it when I get there, It's going to take up space and leave it behind when I'm done.
So Michelle, you're used to a typically, definitely an upper end category of travel.
Yeah, I have stayed in some amazing places that, cost a lot. I also stayed in some amazing places that just have history to them, like the Relais Chateau brand of historical places. So there's been a lot of really, I've run the gamut,
Okay.
In the U.S., there's a couple places that I would say are, by far my favorites.
Tell us.
One was the Blackberry Farm in Wallen, Tennessee. And I lived in Knoxville, Tennessee for 7 years, and I'd never heard of this place.
Yeah, and that's like people here. No, White Stallion?
Exactly. That's kind of the comparable, that this is right in my backyard, and I didn't know it was here. And I took this show in LA when I was living in LA, and flew back to Knoxville, Tennessee to go to the Blackberry Farm, which is a food and wine destination that's just so beautiful. The rolling purple hills and the fog in the middle of the pastures with white rolling fences, and you sit in the rocking chair and have amazing food and wine and stay in the old, bed and breakfast, get a spa treatment at the farmhouse. But then I've also stayed in Thailand. I stayed in oh my gosh, it was this, I had a pool at the end of my bed, like in this big, I would say it was like a 3,000 square foot suite, and it was just unbelievable. I had an 18-hour spa treatment while I was there.
18-hour spa treatment.
18 hours. That's a whole other story.
Wow.
It was a long, and the hard part about working in television is, you're looking around cameras and all the equipment. I was in the wrong industry. I definitely should have been a writer, because you just take your camera and your pen and enjoy the trip, write about it later. But but coming here, it was just one of those places where you just didn't miss a beat with all of the details, from the suite that we stayed in, that we got to come out and lay in the chaise lounges.
We saw a falcon in this room.
Yeah, we did falconry in this room.
In this room.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, the things that we did here, I just couldn't, it was like one thing after another. It was like, yeah, let's do that. I've never heard of that, or I've never seen that. And now he's more familiar with guns, and I did the bows and arrows. I shot like almost every gun you could do here. We took the e-bikes out. We rode on every ride we could possibly go on. I didn't qualify for the fast ride. He did, but that's probably a good thing. They didn't need me out there causing any.
Well, based on his history, I don't think they need him out there either.
Yeah, I was a little worried, but
I can understand
he did
that.
come back, so that's
right.
I was
That's
grateful
a very
for.
good thing.
But that was the other thing when we had first moved here in 2020, and we learned a lot from our guides on every ride that we went on. We learned a lot. I mean, you can kind of share about like the vegetation.
I mean, so I'm one of those people that if you know something that I don't, I want to know it, and I want to know everything about it. I've got a lot of questions that I don't even know what my questions are until I get to talking to somebody.
Yeah.
So I'm always going to be the person that's going to be up at the front because I've got questions, and I'm going to end up kind of taking over with my questions. But so I asked a bunch of questions once we got here, and I learned everything about the vegetation in this area. What was great about it is growing up in Huntington Beach and in San Clemente, before we moved here, we're familiar with the vegetation at the beach.
Sure.
Which is nothing like the vegetation when you get, to this part of Arizona. And if you're not from Arizona, you think about Arizona and what you see in your mind, and you see cactuses and sagebrush and dirt. And then you get out here and you start talking to these guys, and you realize how much the creosote plant is used for, and how long it takes a cactus to grow, and what's going on with the mining in the area. And, anything that you want to ask the guides, there was not one question that I asked, and I'm telling you, I've got a lot of them, that anybody ever said, I don't know, let me find out for you. Every question I had, there was an answer, even if they made it up.
I was going to say, there may have been some fiction thrown in there, because I'm surprised they say it's this is one of the most diverse ecosystems in the world, the Sonoran Desert. But we're going to take a break. We've gone over, and we'll be right back.
The horses at White Stallion Ranch in Tucson have unique needs, just like your horse has unique needs. Dude Ranch Hall of Fame member Russell True uses Golden Wing horseshoes because they are problem solvers. Golden Wing horseshoes were designed to accommodate the uses of every horse owners, and Golden Wings are lighter than conventional shoes, which encourages strength and resilience of hooves in all horses. Made in the USA, using molds that produce consistent sizing, uniformity of weight, thickness, nail placement, and resiliency, The shoe material is comparable with the consistency of the hook, flexes with the hoof on any terrain, and lands with each stride flat and level. You can rely on Golden Wings horseshoes. Visit goldenwingshorseshoes.com. That's goldenwingshorseshoes.com. Learn more about them. You will become a believer yourself.
It may be the end of the year, but it's not too late to still find the perfect pair of Durango boots. Durango's end-of-year sale is December 24th through December 31st. You'll receive an extra 35% off on all sale items on durangoboots.com. Happy shopping!
Okay, and we're back with Michelle and Jeff. Okay, Michelle, you've traveled to some pretty, according to your husband, hoity-toity places. He says you could be a little bit difficult there. How does the food here at White Stallion stack up against a lot of these places?
Okay, so if you saw my husband and I, you would think he's the meat eater and I'm the salad eater, but no, I love me some good meat and potatoes, good home cooked meals. Now, I will say that the food here was excellent. It was just as good as any 5-star resort that I've been at. The thing that I really loved the most about coming here was the opportunity to sit and meet all these different people from all over the world. You're dining over great food, but you're getting to sit, you know, like you go on what are the cruise ships and you're like assigned to the same 10 people, and that could be a snoozer, right? But it was, you met all these people from all over the world. That's one of the things I love the most about the dining experience here. But every meal we had here was great, from breakfast to lunch. One of the fun things is the ride. The breakfast ride that you guys do. We got up bright and early and did that, and did the pancakes and the, I don't know, bacon. I don't even know, but it was just it was that experience. I felt like I was like, you know, on the range, and it just was like such a fun. You guys pay attention to detail, and my husband walking through the doors has to have he calls it cowboy crack, but the trail mix here.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I want to get a job here in the kitchen just to learn how they make it, and then I'm going to quit.
Well, they'll give you the recipe.
Okay.
It's not that hard.
So the food's pretty good.
Food is great here. It's you can tell a lot of love goes into it. I don't know how many people you have back there, but it was always full. You were never, you know, wanting for more afterwards. You can kind of talk too. You're kind of a salad guy too, so I mean.
We went to high school together, but didn't get married until 2012, and in about 2009, 7, something like that, we started dating. One of our first dates, 2007. One of our first dates, I asked her to go. She wanted to go to a steakhouse because I knew she liked steak. So we went to a steakhouse in California, Ruth Chris, and she ordered, because she's a lady, so I let her order first, and then I ordered prawns and salad.
Prawns at Ruth Chris. Who is this guy?
It seems wrong.
Yes, I said the state's over.
I didn't grow up.
And you're still with him.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
I just don't like have a big taste for steak. I like, fish a little bit more. But,
so there was a lot, I think like we both really enjoyed it. We were talking about that on the way up here. We enjoyed the meals here. Everything was just, there wasn't
one thing that pushed us out of our comfort zone. Like I'm comfortable with just experimenting and doing whatever's in front of me. I'll bungee jump if nobody's bungee jumped off a bridge before. I'm fine being the first one to do it. I wasn't sure about her, as being as eager to try things, but there was nothing about our experience here that seemed like we had to wait for a good time.
And you knew that take me to somewhere that would have good steaks.
Yeah,
good food.
Yeah, and I knew there would be good red meat here. So.
Oh yeah. And
we got a bit of that.
How did our lodging stack up?
Oh man, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Tell me about that.
Oh, thank you.
So there's what's the name? There's a place in California that has theme rooms. It's
the Madonna Inn.
The Madonna Inn.
Yes, in Santa Barbara.
And the theme here obviously is Western. And when you walk into the room, you feel like you've stepped back 100 years. Like, not because it's old and run down, but because the way it's decorated, the way everything's laid out, the way everything has been built, it's built brand new to look old, and it's just a really cool place.
Well,
yeah, I would say that the amenities that like we had a suite that had right outside our front door 2 chaise lounges, a fireplace. So when we came back at the end of the night, I would head over to the hot tub, sit in there for, my 20 minutes, come back in my robe, sit on the chaise lounge, and he'd get the fireplace going. And it just was such a relaxing, after a fun day, we'd have those moments to relax and have our romantic time. And it just, the rooms were great. I felt like we kind of got more than we paid for. So that sounds like a strange thing to say.
Even if you go to a 5-star hotel, you're going to have somebody on the other side of that wall. And you don't get that feeling here, man. It's just a bunch of cool cabins, and we didn't hear anybody at night banging on walls or walking on ceilings, And I've been in expensive hotels where you're like, man, this guy up top of me sounds like Clydesdale. It was just, it was really peaceful, and it was awesome. You can be as busy as you want, or you can kick back as much as you want.
Okay, well, that's perfect. So I want to go back. You said 2 places: Blackberry Inn in Tennessee,
Blackberry Farm, Tennessee. Mm-hmm.
What was the other one in the U.S.?
My other favorite one, and it kind of has a similar, is in Big Sur. There is the Post Ranch Inn. Have you ever been there?
I've heard of it, but I have never been there.
So lovely. You would probably love it. Actually, it has, if you put yourself on a cliff in Northern California, overlooking the ocean in Big Sur with the sequoias on one side and the water 1,200 feet down, it's just a beautiful place. They have tree houses there. They have cliff houses. There's pools with infinity dropping over, looking over. It's just a fantastic. They have a 5-star restaurant there. It's a really fabulous place. Kind of, it is similar in the feel that I like when a resort can take where they are and be authentic to where they're located and absorb the nature and take it up a level. And I think you guys have done that here. You've taken a ranch, and I've heard the story about your family, that you guys have had this in your family for years, and you've turned up the knob without, compromising what a dude ranch or what a ranch would be for somebody. They really get to come in and experience it, but at a higher level. It was a really amazing experience.
Thank you. Well, that's a perfect compliment from our perspective, because we sit and as a family, my brother and his wife and my wife and I, and then for a long time my son and his wife, and we'd sit there and my wife will make fun of us to this day about having 3-hour meetings about how to distribute the stone floor mix that we were doing, or how many shelves in the bathroom and how many inches apart. But we also we debated for several years. Frankly, we had 3 different colors on the buildings, and which was a bit more dude ranchy, and then we finally pulled the giant trigger in our little world, right? We'll paint everything the same color. Oh God, is that too resorty? And we sit there and bite our nails off about these things, because we want to be a dude ranch that has resort level amenities and service. We don't want to be a resort, because we'll be a half-ass resort, and that's not our goal, because that's a different animal. And so your compliment is. Let's talk. I want to talk about the economic development in Pinal. We already sort of mentioned. What's it called? The car company, the electric car company that's up there.
So we have Nikola, which is the trucking company in Coolidge, and then Casa Grande we have
Lucid.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's just booming. What about the tourism side? What do you push for tourism?
So for tourism in Pinal County, we really are focused in on a couple of angles. The historic angle, I think there is so much history in Pinal County that people can experience from, if you even visited Eloy, like on the road at the Eloy Visitor Center. They have an amazing museum within there. Parks and trails, big, parks and trails. We just have Perlada right there. I love the Superstition Mountains. I think they're gorgeous. I know you might fight me to say the ones behind you here. I don't know their names, but are comparable. But
I'll bet Russell knows them.
I fall in love with the Superstition Mountains. I think they're just beautiful, and I think they're probably the prettiest mountain range in all of Metro Phoenix for sure. We've got the Arboretum out there, so
in Superior.
In Superior.
Yeah. I agree with you on the Superstition Mountains. I mean, I do think that our viewscape is pretty unequal, but I think Superstitions are by far no close competition in that valley up there. Is that part of Pinal?
Yes, yeah. Apache Junction.
You know, one of my favorite places in Arizona. I like different.
Okay.
And I love Francisco Grande.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite places in all the world. Where else can you be on the 8th floor looking at nothing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There isn't another building over 2 stories in Casa Grande.
And there's some great history.
And
there
all
too.
that history. It was the San Francisco Giants baseball spring training facility.
Go Giants.
It was, I love that place. And they've done a nice job. It's a cool place. Every Arizonan should go visit the Francisco Grande.
Yeah, we have some great destinations. There's a lot of adventure with the zip lining and the skydive. Arizona zip line.
Where's that?
I believe. Oh gosh, I'm kind of new in my position, so I believe that's out in.
Is that Oracle?
Eloy.
Eloy. Okay.
I believe
Because there's
so.
one in Oracle, but is the Oracle Pinal?
Yes.
Okay. So.
Yeah, maybe it's there.
Yeah. And you that skydiving you mentioned is like world renowned.
Yes, right? They are world renowned. Yeah. I would like to try that someday, but he will not. There's a spontaneity issue.
It's not.
Some people don't.
For me either.
No. I don't like the idea of a hot air balloon personally.
Oh, I like that. But people ask about the skydiving because there's some local.
Yeah.
And I say, if you're there, go to Eloy because
they've got the best.
The gold standard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now that I know a little bit more about your background of the sort of travel that you've done, when you pulled through the gates of White Stallion for the first time, what were your initial impressions? Because I think that's going to be interesting.
Well, knowing that I was looking forward to the beach, I was like,
she got on a half
there
mile.
There's sand, but no beach.
I was like,
half-mile dirt road.
Yeah, I was like, where are you taking me? And it was dark because I think we showed up at dinner time.
Oh wow!
But then just walking through, I was like kind of childishly excited.
Okay.
I love animals, and so when I saw all the horses, I got a little bit excited, and then he explained to me where we were going. So it is beautiful when you first pull up and you see all of the accommodations to the left, and you've got your archway. It just looked like very inviting, but not intimidating. Mm-hmm. It was just, I was excited. I was excited about it. I was a little worried because I didn't know what did you get us into, but.
And one of the things that's always impressed me about White Stallion, every time I'm here and, now that I get to work with White Stallion, the staff here has always been so accommodating. Was that your experience?
Absolutely. Yeah. I would say so. I feel like the people that, were working with the horses on the trails with us were very well educated. They knew what they were doing. They didn't make me feel strange for not being on a horse every day. I'm kind of a newbie, and the people at the front desk, they were always helpful to get us what we needed when we needed it.
And so I'm one of those people that I'm interested in like the real part of what's going on, not so much like the painted part of what's going on. And so I was excited to be able to talk to some of the guides and to learn that they don't necessarily just work here all year long, that they're real cowboys and they do their cowboy stuff in another state for part of the year because that's their real responsibility, and in the off season they come here and work maybe for a little bit. So I got to ask them about what it's really like to be somebody that's doing that for a living, And now, fast forward to now, we've got a television show that's really popular that lets everybody know what it's really like to be a cowboy. But
you're talking about Yellowstone?
Yeah. But I think Yellowstone still kind of gives you a little bit of the A side of things. And,
the Hollywood side.
The Hollywood side. And there's a lot of work that goes into what these guys are doing here every single day. I think the people that work here, they're just behind the scenes the entire time. But it was just for me, I'm one of those people that it's just interesting to know how much work goes into something to make it the A side, or to make it something that looks the way that it does now.
Looks effortless.
Yeah. The True family has figured out how to make just what they do here look really simple, and it's not.
And I was one of those people. I grew up riding horses from the time I was 7 years old. My first job was mucking out horse stables for a quarter. My grandfather's brother owned a horse ranch in Chino, California, and whenever we would go over there, he'd let us grab a handful of quarters out of this coffee can, which is a big deal in the early 70s to be able to grab a handful of quarters and go to the gas station to get a soda, and you still got a bunch of quarters, So growing up around horses and being around this stuff, and then when I was young, I was around it a lot more, and then life kind of happened, and I got older. I still lived in Huntington Beach, where there's a lot of horses. We grew up near Smoky Stable, which was my first job. But as I got older, I kind of fell away from being around horses because I couldn't have one in my backyard down at the beach. I did have a pig.
Almost the same thing.
Please don't tell the story.
So I had a potbelly pig, but that's as close as I could get to a ranch animal at the beach. But once we got to Arizona, and I've ridden here and there, whenever I could go and rent a horse someplace. But once we got to Arizona, it was great to find this place and know that there's some place I can come and learn how to pen. I would have never known how to pen cattle, until I came here, and I could jump on a horse right now and go out and pen.
Yeah.
I understand how to do it. I know, and I only did it here, so it was a great experience.
Well, thank you.
It's remarkable.
Well, we've stolen a lot of your time, and we thank you. We hope you come back to the ranch soon.
Hopefully.
It's great to have you here now, but it's a journey a little bit from Florence.
I appreciate you making the drive down very much. Thank you very much for doing
that.
Thanks for
we'll be back.
Okay, great.
I know you got a big job in Pinal. When I'll just finish with this. When I was a kid, the story always was that, the worst drive in Arizona was Tucson to Phoenix because it was flat and boring. And the other side of that was it's going to be a steady metropolis throughout. It'll look like, the coastal California. And we're getting there. Pinal County's going to fill that void, I think, because it's going.
They just showed a graphic at the economic forecast of what they see everything filling in, and they did it through 2060, and my jaw just was like, oh. That's a lot of work. I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's just, but that's what's happening in Phoenix. It's heading out west, with Buckeye and all of the cities out in that area, and it's happening south.
Yeah, they'll solve the water because
for sure.
Because they have to.
Yep.
Yeah. So the water will get solved and life will move on.
We'll just take it from California since everybody from California is moving.
I was just going to say, I think one of the most commonly heard phrases is in the near future is going to be, we left California.
Yeah.
It's nuts whenever we go someplace. If you're wearing a shirt from California, somebody's going to say, oh, you're from Huntington Beach? Yeah. So am I.
Yeah.
We ran away too.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, there's reasons both ways, right? Well, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in. We really appreciate it.
See you here at the ranch.
Well, that's a wrap, folks, and we thank you for being with us for the Cowboy Up Podcast. Indeed, coming your way from the White Stallion Ranch in Tucson, Arizona. And we're hoping that perhaps in 25 you will make that a part of your new adventure. You're going to thrive in 25, and you're going to find new ways to make life better and fuller for you, your family, and even your business. We love to host business celebrations. It's a different experience. So why don't you check out whitestallion.com, whitestallion.com, and come and be with us. We look forward to it. My name is Stan Husted. I'm one of the founders of the Cowboy Up Podcast, and I thank you for being with us. I lead what is called the Cowboy Spirit Radio Network, the Cowboy Spirit Radio Network, and we are in the business right now of not only helping people like Russell and Steven as they put this program together, but we want to get you and your program, particularly your Western genre program, we want to get it on the radio. This is your opportunity to share your wisdom, your storytelling, and build your Western-style business. So I would appreciate if you'd reach out to me at stanhusted@gmail.com, stanhusted@gmail.com. I can give you the details about how you and your business could maybe be a sponsor of this fine program, or perhaps have your own program. How about that? So that's something you can do. Let's make it a year of new adventures and new excursions and maybe a few experiments to see what might work. We thank you. Please let us know how we can be of help to you. The Cowboy Up Podcast at gmail.com. The Cowboy Up Podcast at gmail.com. Tell us how we can do it better. Perhaps you would like to be a part of the program. Maybe you know somebody who would be a great guest. We'd love to hear from you. So, all the best. May you thrive. May you more than survive. May you be a blessing, and may you be blessed in 25. Till next year. Bye for now.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then.
Who cares about the clouds if we're together?
Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather. Happy trails to you till we meet again.
Some trails are happy ones.
Others are blue. It's the way you ride the trail that counts. Here's a happy one for you. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then.
Who cares about the clouds if we're together?
Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather. Happy trails to you till we meet again. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds if we're together? Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather.